I just want to make a quick video on my exact strategy, all the way from the nightly prep the night before to the next day execution intraday, how I enter, how I exit, what I'm looking for. If we take a look at the screen there, I'm in replay mode. I'll be using the MU stock from December 8th, and we'll be looking at December 9th intraday. So on Monday night, back in December of 2025, I was going through my watch list, and what I'm looking for is some consolidation or a stock to be above all the EMAs, the daily EMAs here that you see on my screen, and continuing higher. So if you look at MU, what I'm looking for is a break of previous day highs here. So it was consolidating, came down, a nice trend line break. Nice trend line break here. I didn't catch it here, but I'm really looking for kind of this range on the daily. You can kind of see it was just kind of going back and forth, so up and then down, and then now we're breaking out of that range. So what I'm looking for is some continuation. So there's my nightly prep. I set my alert here, previous day high. Now if I go to the 10-minute chart and we let this play out, so we see here's the December 8th. There's that green line there. There's that high that the candle formed for the previous day high. Now on the intraday, I have an indicator that also shows me the previous day high on the intraday the next day. If I hover over it, it flips green because that's exactly where I had my level set. I can also see the pre-market high. Best case is when pre-market high on this intraday is not higher than the previous day high. I like when my entry level is the highest point. I do like when these are close because it allows me to see that it's not too extended before entering, which could be a problem. And it also helps when SPY and QQQ are moving in the same direction. So as we can see here, so we're looking at the candle at 9:20, so 10 minutes before open. And I'm just going to let this play here. Just going to slow it down just a little. So I'm going to let this play, and what we're looking for is it to trend higher up towards previous day high. So first, this first 10-minute candle is a great sign. So we were kind of breaking, you can kind of see this trend. We were originally trending down, and then we broke that first 10 minutes. We immediately broke that trend line. And some people use a strategy where they'll enter immediately on this candle, but I like to be a little more patient. I don't like to possibly get faked out by any candles, so I want to wait for this previous day high to break and close above. So if I hit play here and let it play out a little longer, so we're slowly creeping up. The 9 EMA, VWAP, it's coming with it. This 10-minute candle, we wicked off of pre-market high, so it kind of looked like, oh, maybe we'll reject here. Maybe we won't get to my level. But then this next 10-minute candle at 9:50, we close above pre-market high, so we're continuing to stay strong. And then on this next one here is where we finally break above and we close. Oh, let me pause it there. So we finally break above, go back, finally break above, and we close above previous day high. This is when my alert will go off, and I'll click on the stock and I'll be watching for that close. Now that we close, now what I'm looking for is a retest of previous day high. So what I want is a wick to happen right at this level. It can come down, but as long as it closes higher than this level and it forms that long bottom wick, then that gives me a true sign that, okay, this is bullish and there's a good chance, there's a high probability that this is going to continue higher. So if we let this play out a little longer here, it actually does not close above that level. So this is where you have to stay patient. You got to wait for these candles to close, wait for the bulls to step in, and then you can enter. But here we close below. So this, now what I'm thinking is, okay, maybe this is not ready yet. Maybe on the daily, it's a strong level. There are some big time sellers up here, and it's just not ready. It needs to come back down and kind of chop around before we can break out and continue higher. So I stay patient. I don't enter yet, and I let it play out. And then we get another green candle. So now what I'm thinking is, okay, we actually might be in business here. This might just have needed the 9 EMA, this purple line, and maybe even VWAP to kind of catch up to it. You can kind of think of it almost as a trampoline. So there's a good chance that this might actually play out. We just needed those two, the EMA and the VWAP, to catch up a little bit. So I'm now still interested. We broke back above, so now we're still in play. Now I'm looking for that retest. So now if I continue to let this go here, and I know in replay mode it happened pretty quick, but what this candle did was it opened up here. You kind of saw the green candle open, and then it dropped down. And then while it was dropping down, I'm not buying as it's just coming down, because what if it closes like this candle? Then my trade is invalidated. It's not what I'm looking for. So while this candle was forming, so it was red, it started off red, it was coming down, and then we tapped this level, and then what happened was buyers started to step in. So they started to step in, so they were here, and then they bought up this candle and started forming this wick, and then this is when the body started filling in and we flipped green right here. So really where I entered, it was not a perfect entry right on the level. I waited to see where the bullish action, which ended up being around here, seeing that wick get bought up. I make this green, so I bought there, and then I trusted the level. So now what I did was I let it play out. If this broke back below previous day high, I would have cut it, taken the loss, accepted that it just wasn't time yet. I had a good plan, I followed the plan, and it just didn't work out. But as you can see, play a few more candles here. Not a great top wick, but it did continue higher, and then we really took off here. So perfect execution here. You can see this was getting bought up, so I bought there, and then we continued higher. If I continue to play this, the 9 EMA is coming up with it, not too extended. While these candles are forming and I'm going along, I am taking trims. So I'm not just letting this go and not thinking about it anymore. I am taking trims. So I typically take a trim around new all-time highs for the intraday. But here, I took a trim. Once I saw this candle, it made me a little nervous, so I did take a little trim here. And then this big candle, we were extended from the 9 EMA, so I took a trim. And then I just let a few of my runners just kind of go and waited for, you'll see it in a minute here, a possible break of the 9 EMA. So in a perfect world, this would have just kept going and going and going, and I would have hit around 100%. But as you can see, this started to come back down. We could have possibly entered here on a little 9 EMA tap, but again, my strategy really is to use the levels. So this will be a video for another day, but use the levels here that I set up, trust the levels. We went up, trimmed, and now we're just waiting for a possible break below this 9 EMA. This is what tells me that I should get out the rest of my position. So I'm trimming along the way, and then my exit is when we come back down and we break below and close underneath this purple line here, this 9 EMA. So if I continue to play this, we're still above it. We're still closing above the 9 EMA. Still looking good. Right here, getting a little worried because we're getting pretty close. But we're still, I mean, you can still see that space there. We're still closing above, so we're still good. And then here we get the close below. So during these candles, it is dipping below, but before closing my position, especially runners, I wait for a close like this candle. So this is where we get a candle closing below 9 EMA, and then this is where I cut the rest of my position. And let's see here, let's watch the rest of this day play out. And as you can see, once we closed below that 9 EMA, it was really just a back and forth. We even came down to the VWAP once again. So that's my sign right there that this trend that we had earlier in the day, this from previous day high, this level that we set up, this trend going up might be over now. So we may have ran our course and this might be done once this closed. And as you can see, it was kind of over for the day. So there's my trade. That's what I'm looking for every single day. I do my nightly prep and then I trade my plan the next day. I try to not listen to all the noise. I know there's a lot of posts on social media where there's huge gainers like that people are catching. There's a ton of profit that people are catching, but you just have to stick to your plan and those days will come. There's a ton of different strategies out there. So the people that you're seeing that are getting these monster moves where you just caught maybe just a 10% trade or maybe went red on the day, you're trading your plan, and that's what you have to continue to do. There are so many other strategies out there, but you just have to find one that fits your personality, your mentality, and stick with it. It'll work out in the end. Continue to execute your plan, show up every single day, do the homework at night, the nightly prep, and trade that plan. See you in the next one.